The SR2 is the newest SMG added to Escape from Tarkov, and it's already seen its performance buffed a few times with these big recoil changes that Battlestate games have been doing. So is it worth running, and how does it compare to some of the other SMGs in the category? Well, let's find out. So the SR2 is an awesome little SMG. The thing is as they add more guns to the game, it definitely gives the player more choice, which is cool, but it also kind of dilutes the information on what's good value, what's budget, what's worth running. So we kind of want to take a look at the gun and how it breaks down and stacks up against some of these other SMGs. So we'll start with the price and availability. The SR2 you can purchase from Prapor level 3. You can purchase the gun for 53,000 rubles and the suppressor for 25,000 rubles. Both of these things are actually purchasable on the flea market. I've seen SR2s as low as 40,000 rubles and up to 50 to 52,000 rubles like you see right here. And the suppressor is purchasable as well for a little bit more expensive. Instead of 25, sometimes you get them for 28. Like you can see, sometimes you can actually see them a little bit cheaper as well. So it's nice to know that you don't have to grind to level 3 proper to use them, and that you're not really paying that much of a premium. Sometimes you can break even, or actually it can be pretty cheap. And in my opinion, that actually puts this at a pretty good value. A SMG that's suppressed at a high fire rate, shooting a pretty decent round for 75, 80,000 rubles really is not that bad as far as value, especially compared to something like a Vector or an MP7. MP7s are really expensive right now because of kind of the resurgence of them due to these recoil changes. Even something like an UMP or an MP5 SD, if you're buying with USD, you're going to come around close to this anyway. So the value is there. The only other things as far as like modularity is it's a lot like an MP7. It's really just suppressed yes or no, and what optic do you want, and then do you want to put a flashlight on it. You can't replace the foregrip or anything. You can put a rail up on top here and put whatever red dot you want, although this little kind of like Cobra that was built for this gun comes on it, and it's very usable, but you can replace it if you want, and then you throw your flashlight on it. It does have 20 round mags, although the 30 round mags are also purchasable from Prapor level 3, and they're really affordable at 3,800 rubles, and you can buy 10 of them, so there's no problem there. If you do want to run suppressed, you cannot take the suppressor off in raid. If you kill somebody that has it, or if you're just trying to like, you know, swap your gun off or something, you can't take this off to collapse it because the gun becomes unusable. You actually need the compensator in order to do that. With the compensator, it actually doesn't make too much of a difference, like 6 vertical recoil and a little bit of horizontal, so it's relatively usable. However, suppressors are really nice and definitely pulls the stats down a little bit. As far as stats go, it doesn't really matter. You know, we'll actually test these against the other guns to see, but it's like every other SMG. It's got good stats, it's high ergo, it's pretty low recoil, it's fast firing. It's really awesome when it comes to that, but ultimately what it comes down to is gonna be how does it perform and what ammo does it shoot. So before we hop into a raid, we can take a look at the ammo. Like we said, this gun shoots the SR1 MP, the shrimp rounds. That's the only other gun that shoots this same caliber. There's 4 different rounds to choose from, but as we'll see, there's actually not that many usable ones. So BT is the best round for the SR2. It's got 39 pen, 63 damage. That in a gun like this is absolutely devastating. The problem is you can't purchase it from Prapor anymore at any level. The only way to get it is either find it in raid or craft it at the workbench. Although the craft is kind of ridiculous, honestly. It's a hand drill and a sledgehammer that don't get consumed once you use them. So even let's assume you have them. It's 100 rounds of the P ammo, 2 red gunpowders, 3 blue gunpowders, 2 green gunpowders, and 3 screws. I ran the math at like the current market value for this. That's about 1,466 rubles per round. You only get 150 rounds, and the craft takes just under 15 hours to do. So if you've got unlimited money and nothing else working in the hideout, and you want to just like craft that ammo on repeat to get a stack, sure, but I don't really think the value is there as far as crafting that ammo. The next best is going to be the PS ammo with 35 pen and 49 damage. It's purchasable at Prapor level 4. Prapor level 4 is a little brutal to get, and you can't buy it off the flea if you find some. So that's the big negative of this gun, is you can get it pretty early off the flea market, but running it, you really kind of need this ammo. The other 2 rounds, I would say P, I wouldn't even worry about because it's got 18 pen, 65. At that point, run the PE ammo that you can get at a much lower level because it's got 15 pen and 80 damage. So aim for the face, aim for the legs. But the PS ammo, if you have level 4 Prapor unlocked, is actually really good. It actually puts it at almost the best SMG round that's purchasable from the traders. If we look at something like the 45 AP, which you can no longer purchase from the traders, that's got 38 pen, a little bit more, and 70 damage. but the FMJ, which is the one that you can buy from the traders, is 25 pen, 76 damage. Same with the 9mm guns. You can't buy the PvP anymore, even though it's the best. It's got 39 pen, 52 damage. AP 6.3 is the only thing that you can buy, and it's not as good as PS at 30 pen and 52 damage. And then the FMJ and the Subsonic from the MP7, these are going to be the big contenders there. FMJ has 40 pen, 43 damage, and Subsonic has 36 pen, 45 damage. So all that to say that the PS ammo is one of the best SMG rounds that you can buy consistently. 464 rubles per round, you can buy 200 per reset. It does sell out pretty frequently. So the ammo conversation definitely limits this gun down. This is a very usable round. It's very good if you can get it, but you do have to be proper level 4. So what we'll do next is we'll take all these guns into an offline raid and just kind of test out the recoil response of all of them so you can actually get a sense of how they feel, vertical and horizontal recoil. It's not a perfect test, and I'm not going to be able to test every single SMG, but just kind of the most commonly used ones and the ones that I feel like fit in a similar budget and performance kind of range. What I'm going to do is fire off a few mags. I'm going to do standing completely. I'm not going to control for the recoil at all. I'm going to crouch, do the same thing, not control for the recoil at all, and then I'm going to crouch and try and control for the recoil as much as I can. That just kind of gives us the best range of crouching. Definitely helps make guns a lot more viable, especially full autoing them, so you can kind of see how they all perform, and then we'll just talk about it at the end. So we actually got to the point where some of the bullet holes were de-rendering because we did too many, but we can kind of overlay some of the footage here. As you can see, in my opinion, the SR2 was in a really good spot. I do think the MP7 was the best of any gun. It just felt like it had a shorter vertical. It didn't go quite as high. It leveled off quicker, and it leveled off into a really tight spread. The thing about the MP7 is that in this test, I am using these subsonic rounds, and the reason that's important is because the subsonic rounds reduce the recoil by 22, and that is extremely significant. The other round is going to be the FMJ. I was using the subsonic because it's what I prefer. I like that recoil reduction. I like, as you can see, how well that gun and how easy it was to control. A lot of that is due to the subsonic rounds. However, the SR2 wasn't that bad. It wasn't far behind. It was probably the second best of the bunch when using it, and it's got one of the harder hitting rounds. And if you wanted to use FMJ in an MP7, it would perform around identically. The Vector is really where you see the horizontal come into play. It almost like circles around. It's much harder to control. The UMP, you can notice that much lower fire rate. It's easy to control and it's tight groupings, but it's a much lower fire rate. The MP5 SD 9mm is just harder to come by. The AP rounds, you can't buy too many of them and they're pretty expensive. However, the MP5 with these recoil changes is in a really good spot as well. So that kind of gives you the whole wash there. My TLDR of the whole thing is I think the SR2 is a really good gun, but it's not the best SMG. I still think the MP7 with the 40 round mags, more ammos that are purchasable and usable, makes this gun really easy to control and just kind of the best in class. However, the SR2 is not like a G36 scenario. This is good enough to be usable and good enough to be a gun that I'm going to want to run as a secondary for a bolty or just in close quarters maps like dorms on customs or factory or something like that. So definitely usable. We'll see if they continue to change the recoil. We'll see if they maybe adjust the crafts for the ammo or make the ammo a little bit easier to get than level 4 proper. But that is kind of where the SR2 is. It's a fun little gun. I hope this helped. I hope this kind of just like broke everything down and kind of helped you decide if you want to start running the SR2 or not. If you like this video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I stream Escape from Tarkov about 6 days a week. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say hey. And if you're looking for people to play Tarkov with, our Discord server is an awesome place to be. That link is down below as well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.